NASCAR fixes its qualifying problem. Trackhouse is going to race in the 24 Hours of Daytona, and Tom Majeski's penalty was upheld. So let's get into all that. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, first things first, Trackhouse will be racing in the 2025 24 Hours of Daytona, and they've got a pretty stacked lineup, and they're partnering with a pretty good team, so let's jump into that. The number 91 Corvette race team competing in the 24-hour race at Daytona International Speedway will be a collaboration between Trackhouse Racing and TF Sport, titled Trackhouse by TF Sport. Trackhouse NASCAR driver Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch, along with IndyCar star Scott McLaughlin and longtime sports car racer Ben Keating, will drive the number 91 Corvette in America's most prestigious endurance race. Participating in the Rolex 24 has been a dream since the inception of Trackhouse Racing, says Trackhouse owner and founder Justin Marks, whose first professional race as a driver came in the 2001 and peaked when it went into Victory Lane in 2009. And I found that via Majeski, and I think it came from a Trackhouse press release, but not 100% sure on that one. But let's take a look at those drivers in that lineup, because you've got some heavy hitters right there. You've got Shane Van Gisbergen, three-time Supercars champion, three-time winner of the Bathurst 1000, and of course, he has that NASCAR win in the Chicago street race. So you've got a really good driver right there, but the rest of the drivers are equally as good, so let's get into them as well. Then you've got Scott McLaughlin, current IndyCar driver, 7 wins, finished third in the points last season, but also a former Supercars driver where he has 3 championships, 3 in a row actually, 2018, 2019, and 2020. And in 2019, he also won a Bathurst 1000, so absolutely no slouch there as well. And then Zilly, you've got Connor Zilisch, who of course won the LMP2 his class last year in the 24 Hours of Daytona. He has ARCA wins from last season, and he also has an Xfinity Series win from last season. 18 years old. Pretty much whatever he jumps in, he is fast. So really good driver right there with Connor Zilisch. Then as far as sports car racing goes, of this group, you've got the guy with the most sports car experience in Ben Keating, the 2015 GTD winner at Daytona. He also followed that up with a LMP championship in 21 and 23, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, he's won that in 2022 and 2023. He also won the 2023 and 2022 WEC championship as well, so very, very established veteran there. But what about the team itself, TF Motorsport? Well, that is a group that was founded by Tom Fair, therefore the TF and the TF Sport, and they have had a ton of success in sports cars and things like that. They partnered with Corvette last season in 2024, and at the last race of the year, I think they had a double podium, so they know what they're doing. So good team, a bunch of good drivers, and it will be really exciting to see what they do in the 24 Hours of Daytona, or the Daytona Rolex 24, whatever it's called. This via Majeski. The National Motorsports Appeals Panel today heard and considered an appeal of a behavior penalty issued on November 5th, 2024 to driver Tom Majeski in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The penalty concerns the following sections of the 2024 NASCAR Rulebook. Sections 4.4a, NASCAR Member Code of Conduct. The penalty issued was a $12,500 fine to the driver. Upon hearing the testimony, the decisions of the National Motorsports Appeals Panel are that the appellant violated the rules set forth in the penalty notice, and that the panel affirms and upholds the original penalty assessed by NASCAR. In reaching the above decision, the panel provided the following explanation. The driver failed to meet contractual agreement with NASCAR, one of the most, if not most important media obligations of the entire season. So at first glance, without context, basically Tom Majeski didn't go to the championship for press junkets and all that thing, and all those things he was supposed to go to on Tuesday. So if you're just looking at it on paper, yep, absolutely, he didn't do what he was supposed to do, except, however, it wasn't a regular Tuesday. That Tuesday that NASCAR scheduled that for was actually voting day, and Tom Majeski was in Wisconsin to do his civic duty to vote for the president and all the other stuff you were voting for there. So it's not as cut and dry as it seems without the context there. But that being said, it was in the contract that he signed. So technically, I guess, letter of the law, yeah. But I get it. He wanted to vote in person. Some people like to wait until the absolute last day to vote because they don't know how much information is going to come out on the candidates that they want to vote for or the candidates that they're considering. So I think the best solution in the future, I think the best situation for this going forward is how about NASCAR not schedule any press stuff for Election Day? Once every 4 years, NASCAR should probably look at the schedule and say, hey, that's voting day. Let's not schedule anything for people to have to be a certain place at a certain time so that they can get their votes in if they want to vote in person. And obviously the counter argument to that, you can do the mail-in vote. Well, like I just mentioned, some people don't want to do that because they want to get all the information up until the last minute before they make their decision. So yeah, don't schedule anything for voting day, NASCAR. This from Zach Albert at NASCAR.com. The most significant changes for practice and qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Craftsman Truck Series include group practice goes from 20 to 25 minutes, single round qualifying at every track except for super speedways, which will still implement a final round of time trials for the fastest 10 cars, starting position based solely on qualifying results rather than row by row designations according to qualifying group. Qualifying will be single lap time trials at most tracks. At short tracks, the best of 2 laps will be the qualifying speed of record, and road courses will have group qualifying with multiple cars on track for 20-minute sessions. So to sum that up, basically for 1.5 miles, you're going to get 1 lap. There will be 2 groups. There will be a metric. I'm going to get into that in just a second from the same article. But basically that's it. You turn your 1 lap. You qualify where you qualify, and that's it. No more of this, I qualified in this group, so I'm lining up on the inside lane. I qualified with this group, I'm lining up on the outside lane. They basically got rid of that, which was much needed because it was just overly complicated. They were trying to add some spice into qualifying, and qualifying is just not going to have any spice because, well, we've got charters now, and we know who's going to be in the race. But here are the details. 25-minute practice for each Group 1 and Group 2. Groups will be determined by metrics. These are the metrics I was talking about. 70% based on previous race finish by owner, 30% based on an owner's points position. The best scoring cars in the metrics will be placed in Group 2. So basically what that means is Group 2 will be your typically faster cars. Group 1 will be typically your slower cars. Qualifying 1 lap round. Tracks include Las Vegas, Phoenix, Miami, Darlington, Texas, Kansas, Charlotte Oval, Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, Worldwide Technology Raceway, and New Hampshire. The short track version of this is going to be 25-minute practice each for Group 1 and Group 2, 2 laps, 1 round. Those tracks include Martinsville, Bristol, Dover, Iowa, Richmond, North Wilkesboro, and Lucas Oil IRP. And then here are the 2 that are going to be the exceptions: super speedway qualifying and, of course, road courses. No practice except for a 50-minute pre-qualifying session at the Daytona 500. So after the Daytona 500, no practice at super speedways in the Cup Series. Qualifying 1 lap, 2 rounds, fastest 10 cars in the opening round advance to the final round. Basically the way qualifying has happened last year, where you have the final 10 and they go for the 1 through 10 starting positions. Starting positions 1 through 10 will be based on the final finish in the final round. Remainder of the field will start based on qualifying results in the first round. Atlanta, Talladega, and Daytona are the super speedway tracks. Here's the road course version: 25-minute practice for each Group 1 and Group 2, 20-minute qualifying each for Group 1 and Group 2, multiple cars on track, 1 round of qualifying. Tracks include Chicago, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Charlotte Roval, Portland, Coda, and the Cup Series will have expanded practice procedures. So there you go. That wraps that up and puts a bow on that. But the other pretty cool thing to announce is that Amazon will be carrying the first half of the practices and qualifying sessions and stuff like that. So you can catch all the practice stuff on Amazon next year in the first half of the season. Second half of the season, it will be on TNT, or if you have the Max app or whatever, or the Max subscription on your TV, however you got that worked out, you can also watch it on Max. So second half of the season, TNT and Max. First half of the season is going to be Amazon. However, Fox is going to carry the Clash and the Daytona practice and qualifying. So the first 2 races, the Clash and Daytona, will be covered by Fox. Very simple. I might have made that sound more complicated than it is, but overall this is going to be a good thing. They have simplified qualifying despite all of that stuff that was written out there. NASCAR rumor nostalgia. Looks like it's been leaked that the number 4 will be Noah Gragson's number, and it looks like he's taking Rush Truck Centers with him. So we'll be interesting to see how that turns out, but they're usually on point with the rumor mill stuff. So I tend to lean toward that looks like that's going to be Noah Gregson's sponsor and number next season. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, I would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll just keep making these things. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you all as well. If you got a question, comment, or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many of them as I can. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.